Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. The next debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is coming up on Sunday, October 9th. Donald Trump lost the first debate resoundingly. How do we know? Hillary Clinton rose in the polls a few days after the debate, and Donald Trump slumped. Fox News hates Hillary Clinton. But here's what it said 4 days after the debate when the first post-debate poll numbers came in. Quote, Clinton is ahead of Trump by 3 percentage points, 43 to 40% in the four-way matchup, according to a new Fox News poll of likely voters. Continued Fox News, quote, 2 weeks ago, Clinton was up by 1%, only 1%, 41 to 40%. But leaving Fox behind, things looked even better for Clinton in the Huffington Post, which averages 305 polls from 40 different pollsters. There, Hillary led Trump by 5 percentage points. That was 5 days after the debate. In the Huffington Post average, 47.6% of those polled favored Clinton. Only 42.8% leaned toward Trump. What did Donald Trump get wrong in the first debate? And what does he have to do to correct that in debate number 2? The answer is in something none of the pundits were watching. Submission gestures, dominance and submission cues, animal pecking order language, standing up versus slumping. Submission cues, really? In an article that appeared in The Atlantic a few days before the debate, James Fallows, a very wise journalist who in his youth was the chief speechwriter for Jimmy Carter, recommended that you watch the debate with the sound off. Why? Fallows pointed out, the people who listened on the radio to John Kennedy debating Richard Nixon in 1960 were sure that Nixon had won. But Nixon actually lost. Why? The debate was on television, and dominance and submission cues were all over the place. The first Clinton versus Trump debate was won and lost in dominance and submission cues, too. It all started with the split screen. In social psychological surveys of presidential history, the tallest candidate almost always wins. We are impressed by height. Height is a dominance cue. But the split screen made Hillary look as tall as Donald Trump. In fact, it sometimes made Hillary look taller. Then there was another subtle dominance and submission cue. It came from the positioning of the microphones. Trump's microphone was lower than the knot on his tie. It was just below the level of his shoulder bones. So Trump had to stoop to speak. Stooping is a submission gesture. And stooping made Donald Trump look like a cringing child. What's worse, Trump is used to taking the stage at a rally where he's the only person on stage, the only one talking. He's used to standing up straight and dominating. But he's terrible when he has to listen. And when he's listening, thanks to the split screen, the camera never leaves Donald Trump's face. The result for Trump is a dominance and submission disaster. When Hillary is talking, Trump looks restless, peevish, and petulant. He looks like a husband being henpecked by his wife, or like a little kid being bawled out by his mom. Let's get back to the positioning of the mic. Donald's, you'll recall, was below the knot on his tie, down here. It was low. But Hillary's mic was just below her chin, right here. It was high. So Clinton was able to stand ramrod straight and look authoritative. She was able to look tough, cool, and sometimes even presidential. What's more, Hillary is a master at listening. So while Trump's face was wriggling with discomfort when he was listening, Hillary's was totally under control. She either looked serious or had a smile. And not just any smile. Hillary had a smile of command, and sometimes the smile of a teacher who has heard a whopping mistake. The smile of, "Oh, really?" At the bottom line, the split screen made Hillary look bigger than a man who was almost 10 inches taller than she is. One more hidden secret defeated Trump: the way he was mic'd. The microphone picked up every breath that Donald Trump took, and Trump was not breathing comfortably. In fact, the sound of the Donald's breathing made him sound sick and weak. Did anyone notice these dominance and submission cues? Did anyone pick up on the secret language that Trump and Clinton were speaking silently on stage? Did anyone pick up on the chimpanzee politics language, the language of crayfish, lobsters, bees, and puppies? No. But the debate's dominance and submission gestures had a powerful impact. The members of the Fox News team are usually Trump's supporters, his cheerleaders, and they hate Hillary. But Fox News' Megyn Kelly pointed out that there was a gasp in the audience when Trump claimed he had done Barack Obama a favor by forcing the president to release his birth certificate. A gasp you could hear filling the room. Brett Hume of Fox TV spotted one facet of the dominance and submission thing. He said the two faces that counted the most during the debate were the faces Trump and Clinton made when they were not talking. Said Hume, Clinton looked composed or smug, but Trump looked uncomfortable. Former George Bush press secretary Dana Perino added that Trump was, and this is her phrase, on his heels. He was visibly losing. More important was the conclusion of Fox News commentator Judge Andrew Napolitano, who hates Democrats and chews them to pieces like a pit bull working a rawhide chewy toy. Said Napolitano, quote, "Hillary Clinton was poised, charming, intelligent, and for the first time, likable." Let me repeat, Napolitano said Hillary Clinton was poised, charming, intelligent, and for the first time, likable. Those words totally break with Napolitano's normal Clinton-bashing stance. On the other hand, Fox News pulled in former House Speaker and Trump consultant Newt Gingrich as a commentator. And Newt said that the Clinton-Trump debate #1 was an enormous, historic victory for Donald Trump. An enormous historic victory. So like all things political, how you saw the debate depended on who you loved before it all began. The body language battle was not the only secret of the first debate. There were some startling claims. Claims that fact checkers will have to dig into very carefully. Hillary says Donald Trump got a $14 million loan from his dad. $14 million. Not the small amount of money that Trump claims. 14 million in today's dollars, because that was on a 1975, is over $62 million. And Politico has fact-checked this $14 million accusation and declared it accurate. So Donald Trump's claim that he started out with what he calls, quote, a small amount of money, may be false. It may be radical self-aggrandizement. What's more, Trump says he will be the kind of job creator we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. But Ronald Reagan created 12.6 million private sector jobs. That's a lot. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, Hillary's political partner, created nearly twice as many jobs as Ronald Reagan. 21 million private sector jobs. And Bill Clinton created nearly twice as many jobs as Ronald Reagan while balancing the budget. Reagan, on the other hand, increased America's debt. Meanwhile, Hillary coined a new term for Trump's economic policies in this first debate. She called it trumped up, trickle down.
I will search for an answer to while balancing the budget.
All right, we just have to tolerate this damned machine. which is deciding to listen to our conversation and comment on it or try to find things that we're looking for. Okay, Hillary coined a new term for Trump's economic policies during this debate, Trumped up, trickle down, said Hillary 8 years ago. George Bush's application of Trump's trickle-down economics produced the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, and she is correct about that. She claims we lost 9 million jobs, 5 million people, she says, lost their homes, $13 trillion in personal wealth was wiped out. Let me repeat that. $13 trillion in the wealth of ordinary citizens like you and me was wiped out if Hillary is telling the truth, if she is accurate. Trump's tax plan, says Hillary, would blow up the debt by $5 trillion. I've seen figures as high as $20 trillion. And, says Hillary, we'd lose 3.5 million jobs under Trump's economic program, which is not new and revolutionary. It is an antique. It's 140 years old. The Republicans have been using it since 1872. Claims Hillary her economic plan would produce 10 million jobs. Is that true? It could be an understatement. Remember, her husband produced 21 million private sector jobs. Only time is going to tell if these claims are accurate. But, wait a minute. CNN said that going into the debate, Donald Trump had all the momentum. He was 3% ahead in the New York Times poll average, and Trump was 3.5% ahead in the poll average compiled by the Huffington Post. But the headlines coming out the day of the great debate were not good for Trump. And they were not good for his insistence that America is falling apart. 3.5 million people came out of poverty in 2015. Violent crime was 16.8% lower than under George Bush in 2006. In fact, violent crime was at one of the 3 lowest points since 1970. Wait, there's a problem here. We'll have to switch to the computer for the rest of what I wrote for you. Boy, between the computer trying, or whatever the equivalent is in Android of Siri, and this. Okay, let's go down to the bottom and see if I can find the ending that I wrote for you. Bear with me. Okay, here are the claims. We've just been going over those. Okay, and here's the momentum. Donald had it all. But no matter what the substance of the debate and the facts around it, the battle between Trump and Clinton was not won or lost on the basis of substance. It was lost in a realm we seldom discuss. It was lost in the stooping, standing up straight, smiling, squirming, smirking like an ADHD child, and in the heavy breathing. It was lost in signals we give off but absorb not on the level of intellect but on the level of gut feeling. It was lost on the level of our animal nature. It was lost on the level of chimpanzee politics and the behavior of crayfish, lizards, bees, and puppies. It was won and lost in the realm of dominance and submission cues. And on that level, Donald Trump, poor baby, lost. This is Howard the Humongous, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for the sleazy, slimy, seditious, impossible, I think I've got it, little off button.